Several pavilions near the Tangquan Palace were occupied by groups of people chatting. Upon seeing He Ziyu approach, everyone stepped forward to bow and greet him. Their eyes fell on the young, handsome man in white rumored to be Yun Heng, the youngest medical prodigy in Juju. So this was the legendary physician Yun. Qiao family's eldest daughter must have great influence to be friends with such a renowned doctor. As early summer approached, the afternoon sun was scorching. Ziyuan held an oil paper umbrella beside Qiao Wanyan. Noticing people staring at young Master Yun in the distance, she leaned close to whisper, "Miss, steps ahead, watch your step." Yun Heng suddenly stopped. The moment He Ziyu turned, he reached out to help Qiao Wanyan up the steps, but she had already placed her hand on his wrist. Ascending steadily, He Ziyu's expression remained unchanged as he turned away. Onlookers murmured in surprise after the group entered the Tangquan Palace. Physician Yun is as gentle as he looks, so considerate to help the injured second Miss Qiao. True lie, a healer, spinval and heart. Right. I dared he had a quirky temper during his travels, only treating patients on a whim. Seems the rumors were false. He's handsome and skilled. Since he's close to first Miss Qiao, might they marry? Unlikely. Everyone knows the crown prince favors first Miss Qiao. Even so, the emperor and empress won Taprove. After what happened on the Longevity festival, how could a woman public lie? Can Ed become crown princess? Inside the inner chamber, a female physician examined Qiao Yihuan. Though her burns looked severe, they remain superficial. Her fair skin made them appear worse. Blisters on her arms would heal with proper medication, but scars would remain. Suddenly, Qiao Yihuan grasped the physician's hand, pleading, "Lie, please don't mention the injury on my shoulder." She never wanted His Highness to see such an ugly scar. The physician nodded. Discretion is essential in the palace. Qiao Yihuan relaxed slightly but worried about Qian Miao Yun and others who had seen the scar. Stepping out, the physician was led to see the crown prince and physician Yun. She quickly greeted them, stealing a glance at Qiao Wanyan. "How is she?" He asked. Qiao Wanyan added, "Yes, how is my sister? Speak frankly, I can take it." The physician paused. "First Miss Qiao's burns are uncritical. With medication and rest, they'll heal, but the blisters on her arms will leave faint scars." Noble ladies outside, who hadn't followed Qian Miao Yunan, heard this. With physician Yun here, what were a few scars? He glanced at Yun Heng, knowing he would prescribe medicine for Yi Huan, but women treasured their looks, and he didn't want Yi Huan depressed over scars. Qiao Wanyan gently touched her shoulder, meeting the physician's gaze. The physician, who received favors from the Qiao family, knew where her loyalty lay. There's something else. She hesitated. "Speak," He prompted. "While examining first Miss, I noticed two distinct scars on her shoulders, like lie from arrow wounds." "Arrow wounds?" He frowned. Qiao Yihuan had never faced danger. Why hadn't she sought his protection? He turned to Qiao Wanyan, expecting answers as family, but she lowered her head, hands trembling as they clutched her skirt, knuckles white, looking guilty. He swallowed his words. "Wanyan, go rest. Your injury has healed. Your sister is fine, auditory." Qiao Wanyan nodded without meeting his eyes, supported by Zilan as she left. "All of you leave," He ordered. "No one enters without my permission." Alone, He crossed the screen into the inner chamber. Curtains fell, obscuring the figure on the bed. Xiaoying was surprised. "Greetings, Crown Prince," she added joyfully. "His Highness is here." Qiao Yuhuan sat up, ignoring the burning pain. Tears welled up from wrong edge. She dismissed him so much, fearing he'd abandoned her. "Your Highness," she whispered, voice thick with emotion. He was silent. "How did you get arrow wounds on your shoulders?" Qiao Yuhuan froze, ears ringing. "Who did this? Why didn't you tell me?" He pressed. Her pupils trembled. How had he found out? He'd surely despise her now. Xiaoying clenched her fists. The physician must have spilled the beans. Better to implicate the real culprit. It was second miss. Xiaoying shouted. She ordered Lu Jinyi to wound Miss with barbed arrows. Presumptuous. He Ziyu snapped, slandering. Your mistress, do you want to die? Qiao Wanyan, who hadn't left, smiled at the outburst. Everyone was a gambler. The crown prince hated scheming people, yet he favored exactly that type. What a show! Behind the curtains, Qiao Yihuan stared in disbelief. The crown prince, who'd once trusted her unconditionally, now denied her without hesitation. He felt like a stranger. Your Highness, you don't believe me? She choked. His tone softened reluctantly. Your sister isn't like that. Though spoiled, she wouldn't do this. Qiao Yuhuan, always gentle and forbearing, could no longer hold back years of bitterness. Do you truly know her? Do you know her real nature? He Ziyu was taken aback. Of course you do. She laughed sarcastically. In the Qiao household, even servants looked down on me because Wanyan warned anyone befriending me would be her enemy. I lived worse than a servant. Wanyan beat me regardless of seniority. And father and mother turned a blind eye. You said you hated scheming people, yet she pretends to befriend me to get close to you. Can't you see through that? Qiao Wanyan, behind the screen, thought Qiao Yihuan go mad. Instead of pleading pitiful lie, she was accusing the crown prince of bad judgment. Did she forget he was the future emperor? He Ziyu's face darkened ominously. Qiao Yihuan, unable to see through the gauze, continued. If you don't believe Wanyan hurt me, who else would dare wound a minister? Stutter under your watch? She tied me in a dark room, had Lu Jinai shoot me with barbed arrows, then forced medicine on me to heal quickly. She threatened to kill my mother if I spoke. Do you know what I suffered? Unburdening herself felt liberating. Since he knew about the scars, why protect Wanyan? Let him see her sister's true colors. Xiaoying knelt. Miss has never been happy, only when she met you did she smile. Even as second Miss bullied her, she endured for the hope of being with you. If you don't believe her, what future does she have? A bad woman. Bad woman. Apparat squawked from behind the screen, breaking the silence. Hugh frowned. If Wanyan did this, there must be arson. What truth am I missing? Qiao Yuhuan stopped crying. Xiaoying rushed to say, there's no reason, she just hates Miss. Why else would you panic to explain? Hugh asked coldly. Xiaoying fell silent, sweating under his gaze. I'm the crown prince, not a fool, he said. Your Highness. Qiao Yihuan shouted, what truth do you want? I'll tell you, since you don't trust me. Nothing I say matters. It's my fault for being weak. Should Ahavi been jealous, fought back? Are you satisfied? He Ziyu Sayas dimmed. Was she blaming him for partiality? She sounded like the petty women in his father share M. Tell me, who killed that blood-sweating steed? Why did you fall ill at the longevity banquet? Who made that tremella soup you drank? Qiao Yihuan was confused. The soup had been Xiaoying's plot to sabotage Wanyan, which backfired. But the horse? I don't know what you're talking about. People have, but denying wrongdoings is a flaw, he said sharply. Her heart ached. Xiaoying made the soup without my knowledge. Wanyan used a servant to deliver it as yours. Humiliating me. Are you accusing me unjustly? As for the horse, I've never seen it. Let Wanyan confront me if she slandered me. I never mentioned Wanyan. He Ziyu said. Why assume she accused you? Qiao Yuhuan was speechless. Hugh sighed. Maybe I never knew you. Or maybe you've changed. Exhausted, he turned to leave. Her sobs didn't stop him. Outside, Lu Jinai, Guo Liching, Yunyo, Siwan Qian, Mio Yun, and others waited. Though they could enter the crown prince, Qiao Yihuan shouts carried. Was she arguing with the crown prince? Had she lost her mind? Qian Miao Yun decided to report this to the empress. Both Qiao sisters needed punishment. Wanyan for manipulating her, and Yi Huan for disrespecting the crown prince. Yunyo Ansi had left a talking bird inside. About to retrieve it, she was surrounded by noble ladies, flattering her as Yun Heng's sister. Yunyo, we didn't know you were a physician Yun's sister. Please introduce us, my brother has a coup. Yunyo frowned, outraged. My brother was invited by Qiao Yihuan? That's ridiculous. Yun Yao's voice was very loud, and the crowd who had already intended to come closer to see the excitement all gathered around upon hearing this. Between the lines of her words, they vaguely sensed the taste of surprising news. Although Yun Yao had grown up in the pharmacist valley and hadn't seen much of the world, she was an introverted child who feared crowds. Seeing more and more people gathering around, Yun Yao instead raised her voice even louder. You mustn't talk nonsense. My brother wasn't invited by Qiao Yuhuan. He rushed over like his pants were on fire because he learned that Sister Ayan was poisoned. The crowd ignored her inappropriate description. But that's what everyone outside is saying. And I personally saw Miss Qiao bring Divine Doctor Yun to Shanglin hunting ground that morning. Others who had also witnessed this scene chimed in. After all, it was hard for them to believe that the fact known throughout Shanglin hunting ground was actually false from the very beginning. Yun Yao explained with rare patience. Is what others say necessarily right? It was clearly Sister Zilan who took Sister Ayan as keepsake to the pharmacist valley to find my brother, but she fainted on the way for some unknown reason, and happened to bump into Qiao Yihuan returning to the capital. By some twist of fate, Qiao Yihuan took Sister Ayan as keepsake to find my brother. Yun Yao's lightly naive voice slowly and clearly enunciated this truth, and the crowd fell silent in unison upon hearing it. Dozens of people gathered together, yet it was so silent that it felt uncomfortable. Miss Yun, are you saying that Divine Dr. Yun and second Miss Qiao are on good terms? Yun Yao raised her head slightly. No, everyone's hearts were in their throats, like watching the most crucial climax of a play, staring intently at Yun Yao, waiting for her next words. Sister Ayan and my brother aren't just on good terms. They're extremely close. Everyone. Little sister, don't you take such long pauses when speaking? Yun Yao pouted. Actually, sometimes I suspect that I am not my brother's real sister, but Sister Ayan is. My brother has a severe clean lines his obsession. He washes his hands 800 times a day, and woe to anyone who touches him. But when facing Sister Ayan, he completely forgets about it. Do you know why I say that? The crowd all shook their heads. Yun Yao playfully kept them in suspense, then giggled under their expectant gazes. I win. Tell you, that's my brother's secret, and I can't let you know. Hee everyone. We really want to beat up this naughty monkey. Seeing the crowd grinding their teeth in frustration, Yun Yao burst into laughter. This was fun. So much fun. But I can tell you another fact. The crowd looked at her skeptically, clearly not believing that this prank-loving, naughty monkey could say anything serious. Yun Yao, my brother is extremely good to Sister Ayan. He agrees to any request she makes. In my eyes, they are like real siblings from different parents. Someone asked, so is Divine Dr. Yun really not familiar with Miss Qiao? Did he come out of seclusion for second Miss Qiao? Yun Yao nodded. Of course. Haven't you seen me always staying by Sister Ayan's side? It's because my brother trusts Sister Ayan that he let me leave the valley. Otherwise, I might never have been able to play outside in my life. The crowd fell silent again. Now there were two pieces of news. First, Miss Qiao was an out-and-out liar. Second, the most glamorous second Miss Qiao in the capital was about to become even more prominent. Now the person to curry favor with had simply changed from Miss Qiao to second Miss Qiao. Yun Yao added, but you must disturb Sister Ayan. If you affect her recovery, I'll poison you to death. After saying that, she shook her head. No poisoning people to death would get me arrested by the officials. and Sister Ayan would have to go to the trouble of bailing me out. Instead of poisoning you, I'll use itching powder to make you itch to death. The crowd silently moved as Aang, about 3 meters away from her. This naughty monkey really see med capable of doing such a thing. Yun Yao added, by the way, can any of you help me find a talking bird? If you can find one, I can buy it from you. Or I can trade my brother's secret for it. Guo Liqing came out just as she heard these words, immediately walked over quickly, smiled and nodded to the crowd, then pulled Yun Yao away from the crowd. Yao Yao, I can get a talking bird, if I give it to you. Can you tell me your brother's secret? Yun Yao tugged at her pigtails. Sister Guo, since you are good friends with Sister Ayan, I won't lie to you. I was just teasing them. If I dared to reveal my brother's secret, I'd be risking my life. She only dared to say that her brother disliked talking to people and didn't like others approaching. She didn't dare to say anything else. Sister Guo already knew these things. Guo Liqing shook her head. It does end to matter, but I'll still try my best to find apparat for you. Parrot? What's that? It saw talking bird. If you teach it to speak, it will imitate you. Yun Yao's eyes lit up, as if she had discovered a new world. Meanwhile elsewhere, when He Ziyu walked out of the inner chamber, he saw Qiao Wanyan standing behind the screen. Although she was still some distance from the inner chamber, she must have heard those words. He Hu looked towards the door, and Jing Yuan guiltily lowered his head. What could he do just now? Second Miss Qiao had whispered in his ear that she was then feeling well and wanted to sit inside and rest. How dare he stop her? Everyone in Shanglin hunting ground knew that Second Miss Qiao was injured. If she really complained because he didn't let her in, not to mention the Crown Prince, Minister Qiao would probably be unable to act openly but would send secret guards to skin him alive behind the scenes. Qiao Wanyan stood timidly by the screen, her delicate and slender body trembling slightly. She looked at the Crown Prince with cautious eyes, desperately suppressing her unease but failing to calm down. She was like a child who had done something wrong, and was afraid of being found out by an elder. Obviously too young to hide things. He Hu said calmly, follow me. With that, he walked towards the back door of the room. The back door of the room in Tang Quan Palace led to a garden hot spring surrounded by high walls, offering excellent privacy. Qiao Wanyan looked at He Ziyu's back and didn't follow. When He Ziyu noticed no footsteps behind him, he stopped and turned to look at her, seemingly confused as to why she was entobying. Qiao Wanyan covered her chest with her uninjured hand, and her gaze didn't waver even when meeting his. She just looked at him quietly, and mist quickly filled her eyes. A clear tear fell, glistening as it traced her cheek. In He Xiu's eyes, it was a highly visually striking scene. Just as He Xiu was about to speak, Qiao Wanyan suddenly walked towards him. She didn't stop beside him but walked straight past him into the backyard. Her lotus steps moved lightly and gracefully, and a rich fragrance quietly wafted over, like blooming flowers in spring, sweet and fresh with a hint of elegance lingering in the nose. In the garden, the winding path led to a secluded and charming place, and the mist rising from the hot spring was like a fairyland on earth. Qiao Wanyan stood beside a peony, her back to He Ziyu, but her shoulders trembled slightly, making it clear that she was crying. He Xiu, Wanyan. Qiao Wanyan lowered her head and refused to look back at him. Her voice choked and as faint as the wind. Your Highness called me here to ask if I hurt my eldest sister, right? With her inability to lie, He Ziyu had already guessed who was responsible for the 2 wounds on Qiao Yihuan's shoulders. He had called her here precise lie to find out the real reason, but seeing her so terrified and afraid, the words on his lips wouldn't come out. In the final analysis, he had no standing to question Wanyan about this. What identity? As the Crown Prince? Even the Crown Prince couldn't interfere in the Qiao family's internal affairs. Qiao Wanyan suddenly turned around, her clear and beautiful peach blossom eyes red from crying, Tears stained her cheeks, making her even more pitiful. For Qiao Wanyan, she was well aware of her own beauty, and what advantages it could bring her. Having only beauty would reduce her to a plaything of those in power, but with a good father and mother as her backing, she naturally dared to use her beauty as a weapon to achieve her goals. Using everything she could to achieve, her ultimate goal was end shameful. Looking at the emperors of generation after generation in the 9 prefectures, which one of them secured their position solely by themselves? Which one didn't? They've countless advisors and obedient generals to help them obtain the throne. Reading more books naturally allows one to absorb the essence and discard the dross. She was just learning from those supreme rulers. My sister didn't lie. He knew that, but even so, he was still somewhat surprised to hear this now. He was surprised that she had admitted it herself at this moment. If she hadn't said it, he wouldn't have pressed her. Qiao Wanyan said softly, "Does your highness remember the incident of encountering assassins on the way back from Qingju?" He Ziyu nodded slightly and listened quietly to what she would say next. "Your highness asked the young marquis to stay by my side to protect me. Although I said I was worried about my sister, I was actually worried about your highness. I knew that going there would only cause trouble for your highness, but I was too anxious to make the right judgment. So I ran to my sister's side regardless, to the place closest to your highness." Qiao Wanyan spoke without stopping, and tears continued to fall from her eyes. Drops of tears fell quietly and miserably, and in Hu's eyes. Even if Qiao Wanyan were to come over and point at his nose and scold him, he probably would be able to say a word of reproach. But Qiao Wanyan choked up here, as if there were thousands of obstacles, and she couldn't say the next words. She pinched her thigh with her hand hidden in her sleeve, and the tears in her eyes flowed even more fiercely. Hu's heart trembled, and he quickly walked over to take out a handkerchief to wipe her tears. But even when one corner of the handkerchief was soaked, she didn't stop crying. She was like made of water, unable to stop. Hu said gently, "Stop crying." Qiao Wanyan cursed inwardly. "Nonsense. If I really stop crying and confident, lie say that I almost killed Qiao Yihuan. Would you be heartbroken for Qiao Yihuan? I don't know why, but my sister suddenly pushed me out. Then, an arrow shot by a hidden assassin hit my shoulder. I don't understand. My sister has always been good to me. Why did she treat me like that? Why did she want to kill me?" Qiao Wanyan suddenly broke down and cried bitter lie, and Hu fell silent. He had thought of everything, but he had never expected the truth to be like this. "I was pushed off a cliff by the assassin, and the moment I fell, I was so afraid. I was so afraid that I would really die. I didn't understand why my sister treated me like that. If I had done something to make her unhappy, she could have told me. Why did she treat me like this?" Qiao Wanyan's voice was trembling as she spoke later. "Therefore later, out of revenge, I had someone use a barbed arrow to stab my sister's shoulder. I can help but resent my sister, but I didn't dare to tell your highness the truth. So it lead that I saw an arrow shot by a hidden assassin and wanted to block it for your highness." Hu didn't understand. "Why didn't you dare to say it?" Qiao Wanyan looked at him. "Your highness was very good to my sister at that time, and the whole capital knew that your highness liked my sister. If I had said it, what good would it do? When Hao Ying pushed me into the water, your highness just let it go lightly. Would your highness have stood up for me if I had said it?" These were words of accusation against He Ziyu, just like Qiao Yihuan's. But when they came from Qiao Wanyan's mouth, there was not a trace of resentment. There was only endless grievance and pity. It aroused the deepest compassion in people's shirts. "If I attend my sister not to say anything, I was afraid that your highness would know my vicious behavior, and I was afraid that your highness would dislike me because he felt sorry for my sister. So I have kept this matter in my heart and didn't T want your highness to know. Kiao Wanyan let out a long breath. But now that your highness already knows, your highness must think I am a bad person and must dislike me. Just as He Xiu was about to speak, Kiao Wanyan suddenly threw herself into his arms and hugged him tightly. With the warm and fragrant jade in his arms, He Xiu's mind went blank. He had never experienced such an intimate gesture before. Kiao Wanyan hugged him, and her gaze happened to fall on a familiar figure standing at the door. She was in the least bit flustered and continued to act as if she were in a play. I'm afraid that your highness will hate me. Please don't hate me. Your highness okay? He Ziyu didn't hesitate. How could I hate you? It's only natural for you to act like that. After returning from the brink of death, there are causes and effects. Don't be afraid. Zhang Qiyun silently watched this scene. When his eyes met Kiao Wanyan's, he clearly saw the coldness and indifference in her eyes, which were completely different from her previous voice. At that moment, Zhang Qian understood a fact. Kiao Wanyan didn't like the crown prince. The frown that Zhang Qiyun had lightly furrowed gradually relaxed, but Zhang Qiyun seemed to have misunderstood. Kiao Wanyan's expression was just because hugging He Ziyu slightly pulled her wound, and she didn't have the mood to continue pretending. Anyway, He Ziyu could see her expression at the moment. As for whether Zhang Qian saw it or not, for her anyone who was in the crown prince was worth her trouble. Kiao Wanyan leaned against He Ziyu's shoulder with a calm expression, her body still trembling slightly as if she hadn't completely calmed down. She looked at Zhang Qiyun for a long time where He Ziyu could see, then rolled her eyes at him and looked away. Zhang Qian, this temper is really in his life. He had never seen anyone as arrogant and willful as Kiao Wanyan. He Ziyu gently stroked the back of her head, speaking softly to comfort her, as if afraid that Kiao Wanyan's unease hadn't subsided. Kiao Wanyan frowned slightly. Her hair was arranged very exquisitely today, and the maid had spent a whole hour on it in the morning. Now that it was being touched like this, wouldn't it mess up her hair? Thinking of this, Kiao Wanyan got up from his arms. Your highness, I'm fine now. He Ziyu med to still have something to say. I'll escort you back. Don't think too much. If you encounter any grievances, come to me. I won't be partial to others, and I'll fairly help you solve problems. Kiao Wanyan had just cried bitterly and still had a slightly nasal voice. She gave a soft hum in agreement. The two were about to leave when He Ziyu saw Zhang Qiyun at the door. He didn't know when he had come or if he had heard the gentle words he had just said to comfort Wanyan. He knew that Zhang Qiyun was on good terms with Yi Huan. 3 years ago, he had been saved by Yi Huan, and since then, their relationship had grown closer. Zhang Qiyun made no secret in the capital that Yi Huan was his savior, and anyone who bullied her would be slapping him in the face. Why are you here? Zhang Qiyun paused. I heard that Sister Yi Huan was injured, so I came to take a look. Then he added, Sister Yi Huan has severe burns, and the imperial physicians can't completely remove the scars. Kiao Wanyan, can you ask Yun Heng to prepare a scar removing ointment for Sister Yi Huan? Kiao Wanyan shook her head. I didn't want to. Zhang Qiyun slightly frowned. Hadn't she been pretending to be obedient in front of the crown prince? Why did she now say such unfeeling words and refuse so decisively? Was Enchi afraid that the crown prince would think she was selfish? Why aren't you on good terms with Yun Hen? It should be a big deal to just mention it to him, right? After all, you are sisters. Kiao Wanyan tried her best to restrain herself. Young Marquis is really good at being generous with other people's things. Zhang Qiyun was silent for a moment. Just as he was about to say something, Kiao Wanyan interrupted him. Sisters? Young Marquis, haven't you forgotten who pushed me out to be shot by an arrow and then pushed off the cliff? You saw it, didn't you? Don't you think it's ridiculous to mention the word sisters now? When these words came out, not without limits? Qiao Yuhuan asked after a long silence. Zhang Qian averted his gaze, somewhat at a loss for how to face her. Qiao Yuhuan suddenly laughed. There are 2 scars on my shoulder, from barbed arrows. Zhang Qian looked at her, clearly not surprised he hadn't heard about this from anyone. Lu Jinai did it, and the one who ordered him was none other than Qiao Wanyan, the not without limits person in your words. Zhang Qiyun was taken aback. He suddenly recalled that when he was recuperating at the Jin family in Yongju, he went to find Qiao Wanyan after recovering and accidentally learned from her that Sister Yi Huan had already returned to the capital first. But later he saw Sister Yi Huan again at the Jin family. At that time, she looked out of sorts, but she didn't say much. He now guessed why she had disappeared during that period. Qiao Yuhuan, seeing his silence, was utterly exhausted. Do you still think she's not without limits? The room was so quiet for so long. That time seemed to freeze. Finally, Zhang Qian spoke slowly. Sister Yuhuan, I'm an outsider. It's not my place to judge matters of the Qiao family. Zhang Qiyun didn't dare to look at her when he said this. Qiao Wanyan's actions were clearly revenge. But if Sister Yi Huan hadn't pushed her out on the cliff, she might not have done such a thing. He had unconditionally favored Qiao Yi Huan before, but now Zhang Qiyun felt that if he went to Qiao Wanyan for an explanation so unjust lie, he would surely end up in a terrible situation. Qiao Yuhuan looked at him quietly, at the Zhang Qiyun who had once defended her without limits, but now he felt incredibly strange. So strange that it was as if she no longer knew him. I don't want to see you. Get out. Qiao Yuhuan said coldly, her voice like broken ice in the cold northern night, sending a chill to the heart. Zhang Qiyun pursed his lips. Sister Yi Huan, I'll get you top quality burn ointment. Get out. I don't need it. Qiao Yuhuan shouted hysterically. Zhang Qian paused, then turned and left without another word. Qiao Yi Huan was so angry that her hands trembled, and she clenched her fists as she watched him leave, until he disappeared from sight. Xiaoying finally spoke in a low voice after a long silence. Miss, in fact, young Marquis has always been good to you. Why argue with him like this? She could see that young Marquis had no intention of quarreling with the miss, but the miss was now emotion. Ally broken down and irrational. His Highness' actions had indeed caused the miss great harm. Good to me, Qiao Yi Huan sneered. If he hadn't said he could help me keep that bucket of Ginger Mountain properly, I might not have left it at the Jing An Marquis estate. If he hadn't been careless, would the birthday gift delivered red to the palace have become a rotten Ginger Mountain? If not for him, how would it have been canned by the emperor and become the laughing stock of the capital? Xiaoying was speechless. Qiao Yi Huan wiped the tears from her face. They were all liars, every single one of them. Xiaoying said nothing but gently stroked her back. She should have tried her best to stop the miss from coming to Shanglin hunting ground. If she hadn't come, none of this would have happened. He Ziyu personally escorted Qiao Wanyan back. After seeing him off, Ziyuan finally couldn't help laughing, her face trembling with laughter. Although she hadn't followed the miss in to hear what His Highness and the miss had said, she could guess the gist from the fact that when they came out, the Crown Prince didn't even look at Qiao Yi Huan. Miss, a previous lie regretted that you didn't tell His Highness about Qiao Yi Huan pushing you out, but now it seems fortunate that you held back at that time. Qiao Wanyan sat on the mahogany chair and smiled. If she had said it then, given the Crown Princess protectiveness of Qiao Yi Huan, she would end they've achieved anything good even if she had spoken. But now it was different. The two of them had just quarreled, and bringing up the past at this time would only deepen the rift between them. Good steel should be used on the blade, Even if it couldn't be a fatal blow, it should deepen their resentment. On the other side, after leaving Tangquan Palace, Qian Miaoyun went to the Empress Palace and exaggerated lie recounted all that had happened not long ago. The Empress sat upright on the phoenix throne, with a graceful posture, although traces of time could be seen on her face. They were accompanied by the calmness and momentum brought by the years. The Empress half closed her eyes. Does Qiao Yi Huan really have such obvious scars on her shoulders? Qian Miaoyun nodded repeatedly. The Empress was relieved. Those serving the crown prince should have flawless skin and a beautiful figure. In the past, the crown prince had repeatedly contradicted her to make Qiao Yi Huan the crown princess. Now, even if he wanted to continue marrying Qiao Yi Huan, the emperor would stop him without her having to say a word. This was good news. Your Majesty, that Qiao Yi Huan is so rude that she contradicted the crown prince. Qiao Wanyan was also there but didn't stop Qiao Yi Huan's reckless words and deeds. This shows she doesn't take His Highness seriously. The Empress' expression shifted. I didn't want others to hear about this. You know the stakes. Qian Miaoyun was slightly taken aback. Qiao Yi Huan had openly contradicted the crown prince. Yet the Empress wasn't angry? But how could Qian Miaoyun know what the Empress was thinking? Who didn't know how much the crown prince had liked Diao Yi Huan in the past? Their quarrel was at best contempt for the royal family, and at worst a feud between young people. If she ordered the punishment of Qiao Yi Huan, what if the crown prince still hadn't completely let go and felt sorry for her, leading to endless entanglements? Moreover, she had no need to pick fault with the Qiao family over this. Qian Miaoyun was unwilling. She had thought that, since the Empress doted on the crown prince so much, she would never tolerate Qiao Yi Huan contradicting and quarreling with the crown prince. Your Majesty, there's something else I didn't know whether to say or not. Just say it. Qian Miaoyun looked hesitant, but finally spoke. I saw Divine Dr. Yun personally feeding Qiao Wanyan osmanthus cake, acting intimately and even wiping the corner of her mouth with his fingertips. The Empress frowned. She had intended Qiao Wanyan to be the crown princess, since she was the future crown princess. Being so intimate with another man was a slap in the face of the crown prince. Go and bring Qiao Wanyan here, without alerting anyone, especially the crown prince. He Baozhu happened to come to pay her respects to the Empress at this time. Hearing this, she immediately stopped the palace maid who was about to announce her and quickly turned to leave, heading towards Changfang Hall, where the crown prince was. Is this woman Qian Miaoyun crazy? No, she must have eaten too many red beans and is love sick. She's telling tales behind people's backs. Huh? Let me show you how he go to imperial brother the crown prince to pour dirty water on you. In Changfeng Hall, He Ziyu picked up the secret letter that had just been returned, glanced at it and then lit it with a candle, half closing his eyes as he watched the flames rise from the letter in his hand. The burning red reflected in his pupils was like a scorching sun imprisoned on a black lake. It looked warm, but not a trace of warmth could be felt. He Ziyu threw the secret letter into the enamel brazier. Jing Yuan's expression shifted. Your Highness, if the prince brings that person back this time, he will surely make a great contribution. This was originally Your Highness's plan to comply with the emperor's will, but now aren't you giving all the credit to Prince Jing? He looked at the blazing candle, his eyes as cold as ice that had remained frozen for thousands of years, devoid of the usual warmth. His fingers were long and well-jointed, casually resting on the armrest. The coldness emanating from the corners of his eyes spread, and it was a long time before he slowly spoke. Give him credit? I'm afraid he has the life to take it but not the life to return. A mocking sneer curled the corner of He Ziyu's mouth. The good show is about to begin. Suddenly, there was Aknik on the door. Your Highness, the 10th princess is here. saying she has something urgent to see you. He Ziyu was surprised. This imperial sister had always had little contact with him. They had spoken no more than 10 sentences, from childhood to adulthood, but now she was taking the initiative to find him. And it was something urgent. Let her in. Moments later, He Baozhu walked in. Baozhu greets imperial brother. What is it? He Ziyu's tone was neither cold nor warm. He Baozhu pursed her lips. Si Minglai still thinking about how to speak, which in others' eyes made her appear afraid to speak. After all, in everyone's eyes, the 10th princess was someone who was then good at talking to people. She was timid and shrinking, the kind of transparent person who was most unremarkable in a crowd. Although she had improved lightly since returning to the capital, her nature was hard to change overnight. Imperial brother, when I went to pay my respects to Empress Mother just now, I saw Qian Miaoyun there. He Ziyu med puzzled. Qian Miaoyun was the Empress' niece. Although Qian Miaoyun's mother and the Empress were in full sisters, the Empress had always liked this well-behaved and lovable niece. So in the past, Qian Miaoyun had often entered the palace, and he had seen her a few times. He Baozhu said, I heard Qian Miaoyun talking to Empress Mother about what happened in Tangquan Palace. He Hu's expression shifted. I didn't know what happened in Tangquan Palace, but Qian Miaoyun said that Wanyan and Yi Huan respected imperial brother and even quarreled with imperial brother. I didn't think Wanyan is that kind of person. She has always been respectful and admiring of imperial brother and would never do such absurd thing. He Ziyu was silent. It was Yi Huan who had quarreled with him, not Wanyan. Qian Miaoyun's words were indeed ridiculous. He Baozhu added, Qian Miaoyun should have no dealings with Wanyan, but between the lines, she implied that Wanyan is arrogant and willful. Marrying an ordinary wealthy son might be fine, but if she marries above her station, she will inevitably cause chaos in the backyard. I think there might be some misunderstanding between them. If she knew Wanyan, she definitely wouldn't say that. He Baozhu muttered to herself, then continued to think Wanyan and imperial brother are the best match. But Qian Miaoyun said that Wanyan has feelings for divine Dr. Yun, that they get along very harmoniously and naturally, and even wants the Empress to make Wanyan and divine Dr. Yun. He Hu's face didn't change, but the shadow that flashed deep in his eyes was accurately detected by He Baozhu. She didn't see it. She just inexplicably felt her legs go weak and almost could stand. Jing Yuan listened to the 10th princess long babble and really didn't understand what she had come to see His Highness for. Was she here to gossip? Princess, why did you come to see His Highness? He Baozhu knocked her head with an ouch. It's all my fault. I can speak and talk nonsense when I'm in a hurry. Empress Mother suddenly became unhappy and asked Qian Miaoyun to call Wanyan over. I was worried that Wanyan's injury hadn't healed yet and that such trouble would delay her recovery. So I came to beg imperial brother to save Wanyan. He Ziyu stood up without a word and was about to leave. Empress Mother had always wanted Wanyan to marry him and become the crown princess. Now, hearing Qian Miaoyun say that Wanyan was close to Yunheng, she would surely be angry. Qian Miaoyun was indeed outspoken. At the door, He Ziyu suddenly stopped and turned to look at He Baozhu. He Baozhu was startled and stood up obediently. You like to make strange little things now. If your monthly allowance isn't 10 now, go to the Eastern Palace to get it. He Baozhu was slightly taken aback, then immediately smiled and said, Thank you, imperial brother. Tsk. Men, could it be that he was being so generous? Because he heard her say that Wanyan was the best match for him? He Ziyu and Jing Yuan left one after the other. He Baozhu shook her head and sighed in place, then followed. How could she miss such a good show? She was the director. Whacking Hall. Kian Miao Yun arrived a step earlier from the Empress' bedroom but was stopped by Ziyuan at the door. My miss has just changed her medicine and is resting. Don't disturb her. If you wake my miss, don't blame me for being rude. Kian Miao Yun sneered. What can you do to me? How dare a servant girl do anything to me? Ziyuan said calmly, of course. This servant does NT dare to cause you any real harm. But this servant can swear very viciously. And I'll surely swear so much that you can, they'll but want to teach me Allison and lay hands on me. If you do that, my miss will have the opportunity to deal with you. Ziyuan added, if my miss recovery is delayed because of you, my master will be the first to settle accounts with your father. You. Kian Miao Yun was speechless, too angry to say a word. Where did this arrogant little bitch come from? Running wild. Ziyuan was actually easy to get along with when Kiao Wanyan was involved. In the Kiao family, the servants, especially the maids in Yongning Pavilion, liked Ziyuan the most, just because a casual word from Ziyuan could get them a raise in their monthly allowance. I came by order of the Empress Dowager. The Empress is summoning Kiao Wanyan. How dare you block me? Ziyuan frowned slightly and said after a long time, wait here, I'll go and inform the miss. Kian Miao Yun snorted coldly, ignoring her. She tried to force her way in but was quickly blocked by Ziyuan. One arm blocked Kian Miao Yun's path, and she couldn't push it away. You, Ziyuan said coldly, Miss Kian. Just wait here, I'm not saying. I won't announce you. Yun Heng came out from inside. Keep your voice down. You will wake Wanyan. Kian Miao Yun was stunned. Yun Heng is here? Just now. This maid said Kiao Wanyan was resting, right? Kiao Wanyan is resting. And Yun Heng is in the room? A man and a woman alone together. If the Empress Dowager finds out, does she still want to marry the crown prince? Kian Miao Yun was even a little excited now. It was indeed heaven helping her that she had caught Kiao Wanyan in such a matter that ruined her innocence. Although the gender barrier was strict in Deu, being alone with Amin and a woman was still a great shame. In severe cases, she would even be able to marry. Well, for the rest of her life, she would be disliked even if she married a butcher. Ziyuan saw the crown prince and the 10th princess approaching in the distance and immediately nodded to pay her respects. Kian Miao Yun looked back, saw them, and was surprised, but immediately paid her respects. This subject greets your highness and the princess. He stopped. Why are you here? Kian Miao Yun didn't notice the crown princess' cold tone. She was bent on telling the crown prince what was happening with Kiao Wanyan now, so that he would know what an unchaste woman she was. This way, she could avenge the hat red of being used by her. Let her call herself a fool and say she deserved it. Your Highness, this subject came to call Kiao Wanyan as ordered by the Empress Dowager, but I never expected Kiao Wanyan to be so absurd. This subject really doesn't know how to reply to the Empress. Kian Miao Yun enunciated each word clearly, suppressing her inner excitement as she spoke slowly. He said absurd? Tell me where she's absurd. Kian Miao Yun glanced at Yun Heng, who had somehow entered the door, leaving only Ziyuan outside. Your Highness, when this subject came, this maid said Kiao Wanyan was resting, so I thought it would be fine to wait a little while. But who would have thought that divine Dr. Yun came out from inside and said to keep quiet because Kiao Wanyan was sleeping. Kian Miao Yun paused. This maid was guarding outside while inside. Kiao Wanyan and divine Dr. Yun were alone together. Amin and a woman alone together would and that stain Kiao Wanyan's innocence and reputation if word got out. Isn't that absurd? His expression changed slightly as he looked inside, but the angle only let him see nothing. Ziyuan shot Kian Miao Yun a glance, her fair face full of annoyance. What a blabber mouth. His was silent for a moment. If you don't spread it, how would it get out? This concerns a woman's reputation. As a woman yourself, Don't you understand the stakes? Kian Myo-yoon was stunned, clearly not expecting the crown prince to say that. She was so shocked by his words that she couldn't form a complete sentence for a long time. You seemed impatient. So you intend to spread it? Do you have a grudge against the Kiao family? Second Miss Kian Myo-yoon's subconscious lie shook her head and denied it, meeting the crown prince's gaze, and never. A middle-aged woman approached from a distance. This servant greets His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince and the 10th Princess. Seeing Nanny Zhu, who served the Empress, Kian Myo-yoon immediately took her as a backbone. Nanny Zhu, did the Empress send you to urge us? It's all my fault for being incompetent and making Her Majesty wait. Nanny Zhu said politely, you think too much. Miss Kian, Her Majesty was worried that you might not be familiar with the palace layout, so she sent me to escort you. And second Miss Kiao. Kian Myo-yoon's expression shifted. I see, but I'll have to wait. Amament Kiao Wanyan is still resting. Please come in with me. Nanny Zhu nodded slightly. Despite the pressure from His stark gaze, Kian Myo-yoon didn't want to miss this opportunity. It would be a huge loss to let go of Kiao Wanyan's wrongdoing now. Once Nanny Zhu saw it, even under the crown prince's pressure, she would definitely tell the Empress. After all, Nanny Zhu had served the Empress since before she entered the palace and was a trusted servant who only had one master in her eyes. Just have a servant announce it. Why go in and risk waking her? He interjected. Nanny Zhu looked at the crown prince, then at the door. Your Highness, rest assured, this servant won't startle. Second Miss Kian Myo-yoon gritted her teeth. Your Highness, I'll stay here. Let Nanny Zhu go in. She's an experienced palace servant. You can trust her completely. Hugh's deep eyes stared at her, cold and piercing. Kian Myo-yoon averted her gaze, daring not to meet them. Xiuan suddenly spoke up. Then please come in. Your Highness Princess Miss Kian. And Nanny Zhu. Let Nanny Zhu wake the miss in the inner chamber so Miss Kian can rest assured. The implication was clear to everyone. Kian Myo-yoon suddenly thought it was good that Kiao Wanyan's personal maid was a fool. Was this playing into her hands? But when she entered, Kian Myo-yoon froze. In the main hall, an octagonal table was set up, with scattered leaf playing cards. 4 people sat around the table, and all looked over as the group entered. Guo Liqing was the first to react. She put down her cards, stood up, and courtesied. This subject greets His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, and the 10th Princess. Yun Yao followed suit and courtesied. Zhang Qiyun was surprised to see the Crown Prince and Nanny Zhu. He saluted the Crown Prince and asked, why are you here, Your Highness? And Nanny Zhu, what brings you here? Yun Heng stood up but didn't bow, just looked indifferent. Lie at the uninvited guests, his face as cold as ever, unwilling to engage with anyone. Nanny Zhu was also surprised. Without thinking, she knew the 4 were playing leaf cards in the hall, and second Miss Kiao must be resting in the inner chamber. But was Tiang Marquis Zhang always at odds with second Miss Kiao? Why was he here playing cards? She couldn't help asking. Why are you here, young Marquis? Yun Yao stopped me on the way and dragged me to play cards. She said they were 1 person short, and couldn't find the 10th princess. So she insisted. Ijuan, a kid, was whining. No point in refusing and making her cry. After leaving Tangquan Palace, he'd wanted to go to the horse ranch to gallop and vent his frustration. He was so pent up that he might explode if he didn't let off steam. But then he met Yun Yao, who pestered him to play cards in Kiao Wanyan's residence, insisting they play quietly. He decided to refuse, but it was hard to say no to a kid. He was a mature adult after all. From the inner chamber came a shout. Zhang Qiyun, what are you yelling for? You woke me up. Kiao Wanyan had slept poorly and was groggy from being walk-in. She had been playing leaf cards with Yun Yao, Yun Hen, and Guo Liqing earlier. Soon after taking her medicine, She felt drowsy. Before falling asleep, she'd vaguely heard Zhang Qian arrive, but then there was silence. Now, she was sound asleep when this jerk started yelling and babbling. So annoying. Zhang Qian's forehead twitched. Cursing in private was one thing, but scolding him in front of so many people, did she think he had no dignity? Who are you shouting at? Xialan rushed toward the inner chamber, but it was too late to stop her formidable grumpiness from being woken up. A cold laugh rang out. I think your skin is itching again, isn't it? Xialan rushed in, hastily making a gesture. She whispered something in Qiao Wanyan's ear, and then Qiao Wanyan neatly flopped onto the bed and played dead. No more sounds came from the inner chamber for a long while. Moments later, Xialan emerged with an awkward smile. My miss was just talking in her sleep. Everyone. A fleeting, unnoticeable smile crossed his lips. The moment he withdrew his gaze, his face returned to its usual calm. She's still recovering and can't move around. I'll go see the Empress myself. Nanny Zhu, you may return first. As an experienced palace servant, Nanny Zhu knew better than to rigidly follow the Empress' order without flexing. Since the Crown Prince had spoken, she would forcefully drag the feigning Qiao Wanyan to the Empress. But this second miss, Qiao's temperament so double-edel and overbearing, and that was young Marquis Jing An. How dare she curse and scold him? From the tone, it even sounded like they'd fought. Otherwise, why would that little devil Zhang Qian, who'd tear down a house if crossed, only retort so weakly? Yes, Your Highness. This servant takes her leave. Nanny Zhu left, leaving Qian Miaoyan awkward. She doped Nanny Zhu would bring Qiao Wanyan to the Empress, but now they were just gone. She stole a cautious glance at the Crown Prince, only to find he didn't even acknowledge her, deepening her disappointment. Baozhu walked over. Yao Yao, where did you look for me? I was in my chamber the whole time. If Yao Yao had been looking for her, the first place to check would be her chamber. How could she not know? Yun Yao forced an awkward smile. Well, maybe I went to the wrong palace. She dared not admit that when Sister Ayan had sent someone to fetch the 10th princess, she davalunti read for the task to avoid playing leaf cards with the princess. She never intended to find Baozhu. Instead, she'd been brainstorming excuses on the road, and when she spotted young Marquis Zhang, she eagerly dragged him along. Lucky he was compliant, but who knew it would end up like this? Would the princess believe her lie? Baozhu realized for the first time how obvious childhood lies looked to adults. This little girl might as well have I Maling written on her face. Yun Yao's round eyes darted around, clear signs of guilt. Baozhu was confused. Did Yun Yao dislike her? Why did she keep avoiding her? Was the trauma from that accidental hair pulling escape still so severe? Recalling that night at the Flower God Temple, the next day she'd seen Yun Yao with a swollen left scalp. Guilt flooded Baozhu. She was awful for leaving such a psychological scar on a child. Probably even seeing her made Yun Yao's scalp throb. Qian Miaoyun piped up timidly. Your Highness, this subject also takes her leave. He addressed Zhang Qian. Since you don't want to stay, go back. If they need another card player, Baozhu can take your place. Qian Miaoyun's face froze. Her voice was that quiet. The Crown Prince was clearly ignoring her on purpose. Zhang Qian was also taken aback. I didn't want to. Qiao Wanyan just cursed me and tried to hit me. I need to confront her. Can't let her bully me for nothing. Qiao Wanyan had been talking in her sleep? Who would believe that? Did they take him for a 3-year-old? He added. She was definitely talking in her sleep. Their eyes met. After a long silence, Zhang Qian held his tongue. You haven't paid your respects to the Empress in a while. Come with me. Ziyu turned to leave. Zhang Qian wanted to stay and sort things out with Qiao Wanyan, but he had to reluctantly follow the Crown Prince's order. As he passed Qian Miaoyun, His gaze turned icy. Yun Yao quit the game. I feel unwell. I need to rest. I'm done playing, I'm going back. He Baoja blinked, watching her flee. I'll check on her. She had to properly apologize and explain. She hadn't meant to hurt her. Soon only Yun Heng, Guo Liqing, and Xiuan remained. Guo Liqing said softly, Master Yun, everyone's gone, we can't lay cards anymore. How about we sit and have tea? Yun Heng was reclusive and unconventional. After years in Pharmacist Valley and a brief, unhappy wanderlust that drove him back to seclusion, he spoke and acted on pure whim, no tact, no care for others' opinions. We are in tea familiar. I didn't want tea with you. Guo Liqing was stunned. If she didn't to know his temperament, she might have cried from the bluntness. Understood. Then I'll check on second, miss. Yun Heng didn't respond, just bent to silently tidy the leaf cards. Disappointed, Guo Liqing turned to the inner chamber. Second, miss. His Highness and the others have left. Qiao Wanyan, who'd been pretending to sleep, first opened one eye, then both, letting Guo Liqing help her sit up. Why did the crown prince come? Guo Liqing didn't know the commotion at the door, but Xiuan recounted the whole story. Qiao Wanyan frowned. Did Qian Miao Yun tattle to the empress? Xiuan fretted. What should we do, miss? Qiao Wanyan waved it off. Why panic? His Highness will handle it. As for Qian Miao Yun, all her scheming went to waste. She should be fuming. Guo Liqing felt a pang of envy. Qiao Wanyan had the confidence that someone would always clean up her mess. Annabelle lady from a prestigious family. The crown prince's savior. Destined for the crown princess position. She had it all. Illustrious lineage, familial love, the prince's protection, and even Master Yun's unique care. Whereas Guo Liqing had to fight for everything she wanted, and even then, success was guaranteed. The gap between people was truly vast.